Just because you have depression/anxiety/personality disorder does not mean everyone has to cater to you. I get it, you are vulnerable if you have a mental disorder, however that does not give you the green card to expect people to be automatically sensitive towards you or your needs. Sure, when others try to help you because they know of your disorder, they are doing this out of their own kindness, not because they owe you anything. As someone with depression, I avoid disclosing that fact to friends, family, employers, etc. I don't want special treatment, I don't want sympathy, and I especially don't want reminders of any kind. I had to disclose it to an employer once because I had started new medication and it was making me extremely groggy in the morning, enough so that they took notice and asked me what was going on. I seriously regret disclosing my depression to my employer because I believe they, either consciously or otherwise, pursued my removal from the job from that point forward. Office politics suddenly centered around anything and everything they could pin me with. I don't work there anymore, thankfully, and I'm happy at my current job, but my point is I don't think OP understands the lengths people with mental illnesses or mental disorders go to avoid special treatment. Reason being, I know enough people with depression, anxiety disorders, etc., etc., and the ones who seek protection become socially isolated from much of mainstream life, and the ones who don't seek protection are able to live life, mostly, the same way everyone else does. Employers specifically are not supposed to discriminate against people with mental illnesses or mental disorders, but if it's disclosed they will often discriminate anyways and justify it another way. That's why we are supposed to be protected. Anyways, we're not protected, the protections aren't at all effective, so either you seek protection and get maltreated or you keep quiet about it and let people think you fit the definition of being just like everyone else so that you can have a mostly normal life. I don't know that I've ever met a person that actually has anxiety or depression that wants to be catered to. It's just the rest of the uneducated world seems to think that's what we want. I would much rather just be left alone. I think what you're referring to are the folks out there who wear anxiety and depression like it's the latest fashion trend because it gets them attention. I'm actually the complete opposite. It is no one's duty to help me with my problems surrounding my mental health. I've caused a lot of stress towards people in the past and it's not fair on them. They are human too, and they definitely aren't qualified therapists. I've also had my anxiety used against me. They say you're overthinking it, you're worrying too much, you're too sensitive. They absolutely would not have said that to me if I hadn't mentioned my anxiety, and it in no way benefits me from hearing that. I find it's best not to mention it. I don't want people to cater to me, or feel sorry for me. Treat me normal. That's all. Being catered to would just remind me of my illness. I may be damaged, but I'm not completely broken. Nobody wants to be treated special, we just want peace and less annoyance. It's not about being owed anything, it's about well-being. Being sensitive towards the needs of someone who is struggling with mental illness isn't about treating them special, it's about being understanding. It's the same reason why you would hold the door and wait patiently for the elderly to shuffle their way in or out of a public building. You understand they're no longer able to move like they once could and respect that. The same respect should be extended to those who suffer from mental illness. Here's my take: just be nice to everyone. You don't know what people are dealing with in private, and nobody wants to be pitied and felt sorry for. But a little bit of kindness goes a long way. I understand that people with mental illness may not want to be catered to or pampered just because they are struggling with certain issues, but I think it's still fair to show them some extra kindness and sympathy because they suffer from more things than the average person might, and some people with mental illness never get the support they need, so it helps to be there when they may need you to. It's more about being understood than being treated differently. I told a girl I didn't want to be around her because I didn't like how she treated people. She said it was my fault I wasn't seeing how much she's grown and is working on herself. Just because you are seeking help, doesn't automatically mean you are better and can't be held responsible when you relapse. You have a right to take care of yourself, but no one is required to stand by you while you figure it out. I don't want anyone to treat me differently. I just want my parents to be more understanding and to stop saying I ruin everything for being socially awkward and being depressed. Right? As a person with BPD, I had to take full accountability for my actions in order to heal and stop stressing out my loved ones. It was hard work, but I'm glad I did it. It's doable, and if I did it, I believe anyone can. I was so hopeless. However, that does not give you the green card to expect people to be automatically sensitive towards you or your needs. Well, that's empathy. If you are aware that I have depression or social anxiety, I don't care if you don't want to help me and mind your own business, but don't be an asshole like I'm perfectly normal. That just makes things worse. You sounds like my father. True, just like if you don't have any legs, people don't have to help you either. No one says you're obliged to cater to them, but if you can't do basic things like not make certain insensitive statements or act a certain way around them purely for the sake of being righteous, then don't get upset when they call you out for being an asshole, because you are. This is definitely unpopular, but definitely has a ring of truth to it. Back when I was 18, I was in a committed relationship with someone who was a manic depressive. I catered to him a lot. In the process of catering to him, he left bruises on my arm, would spiral into rage fits if I ever looked in the direction of another man. I had to give him the passwords to all my email accounts and even banking info, as it would ease his anxiety to know what I was doing at all times. He would call me 4 times a day, email and text me throughout the day. When I finally broke, he threatened to stab himself with a bread knife that was sitting on the counter and said I was a cruel B / for dumping a dude who struggled with a mental disorder. He was never held responsible for any of his actions, ever, not even the bruises from consistently grabbing me and dragging me to a corner to lecture me. He had his diagnosis, and therefore it made him immune to the consequences of doing things to people that were unacceptable. He was vulnerable, sure, crazy bipolar extremes from day to day. Wasn't his fault. But it wasn't mine either.